and welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time. In a legionary's life. On our second life, the first guy sadly died in the battle we're about to attempt. This life, in a way, is actually somewhat going a little bit better. We have actually received an accommodation for how we performed in the last battle, so let's see if we can continue our streak of good luck by moving on into the third battle. When your third spring in this land is so far away from home comes, Rome is in control of most of eastern Hispania. Your progress has been admirable, but the war is still far from over. The departure as Hasdrubal Barca and the remnants of his army brought some relief, but the Carthaginians have not been sitting around this time. According to the latest reports from the east or from the west, a new general named Hanno is raising an army, recruiting Kildabarian volunteers after bringing reinforcements from his homeland. Your legion is attached to the 10,000-strong army under the orders of M. Salinius, one of Scipio's legates, sent west to cope with this new threat. The Kildabarian and Carthaginian camps at Spania. Time is of the essence, and your forced march is almost beyond tolerable limits. With the invaluable help of the Kildabarian deserters, you eventually come close to the enemy position. When news of what is ahead starts spreading, you learn that there are two enemy camps. One composed of Kildabarian volunteers, and the other of Carthaginians. The first one seems much less defended, an ideal point of attack. But Salinius wants to play it safe, and is preparing more scouting teams. We'll go ahead and volunteer again. The Velus named Calvernius and Herbarius, Kildabarian guide, will be your scouting team. So because we volunteered, we gain some more opinion with our bosses. He knows the ground full well and lets us approach the enemy position with minimal risk. When you are very close, you have to cross the stretching land or cover in order to get a better look. We're going to be a little bit braver this time. We're going to try taking the risk. Heart pounding, you try to move as quickly and as silently as possible. And of course that required coordination, so we do a really bad job of it. You are halfway through the route when you hear the cries of alarm coming from your right. Before you are captured, even seen clearly, you have no other choice but to run away. Maybe the other teams did a better job. So we basically pissed off the leadership in how bad of a job we did on reconnaissance. You're about 1 mile of camp, doing a breeze, stirring the vegetation all around you, and once again we don't figure out what we could have seen. The irregular ground offers plenty of cover as your army approaches the Kildabarian camp. You are not very distant when it comes into sight. The defenders have just started pouring out of the camp. They're still too late, but you were expecting a slower reaction. The ground is very difficult here and it is disrupting your formation. Like many others, you become separated from your maniple while passing through a patch of undergrowth. An enemy vanguard reaches you right at this time, and many duels spark off. One of the Kildabarian troops is looking at you and ready to fling his spear. We anticipate him with our own javelin. Our missile flies right on the mark. You prepare for his response, and once again, our shield saves our life. No, we got a little bit lucky this time, and this time we got some backup. Though there's an inexperienced guy on the opposition. Take an aggressive stance, aiming at the inexperienced guy, and chuck that javelin right in. Get an early hit. He's got a bad stance, so we're going to follow up with trying to get him out of the fight nice and quick. His armor does absorb it. Let's come in for leg shot, because his legs... Actually, come in for groin shot, because he's got a groin protection. And we miss. For the first time in the fight, we miss. Their stance is still worse than mine, so we're going to go ahead and try to push forward to get the kill shot in. We do get the kill shot in. I'm going to take the moment to recover. So we're going to swap to a defensive stance and recover. Get our full stance. Let's see, how vulnerable is this guy just straight up attacking? Let's try to feint an opening into him before we carry out the general attack. This one is the more skilled of the two. I think that is a decent enough opening. Let's go for his torso. And we got a moment to recover, so let's recover. Let's go for a headshot. Hit the armor. Probably shouldn't have gone for the headshot in hindsight. And we're bringing him down this time. Now, in the last run, that was the fight that went really badly, left us pretty badly wounded, exhausted. I think we're off to a better run this time. Your manimal quickly reforms and prepares to meet a second wave. The Carthaginian light infantry is rushing to the aid of the Celtiberians, filling the gaps in their formation. We're going to close in, but in defensive posture, because we do not have a javelin. Then we will adapt an aggressive posture, taking advantage of the fact that we are facing an inexperienced foe. Coming straight for his torso and immediately whiff the first shot. Oof! Take a headshot and return. Continuing to pressure our skill advantage. We get hit when we miss. Let's try to recover our stance. Let's go for a quick feint. Give us an opening. Let's go for another feint. He gives us an opening. Come in for the torso. Get a torso hit off. Goes for recovery. Let's try to still go for another torso hit. If we get a good hit in, we do. Down he goes. Let's go for recovery. I suspect we've got another one coming. Oh no, we're undisturbed for a bit. Let's try to get some respite in while we're waiting for his replacement. There comes his replacement. Replacement leaves himself vulnerable. Let's go in for a torso hit. And we get the torso hit off. He does manage to regain his stance. He's still inexperienced, so we still have a decent possibility of hitting him, even without his stance being bad. So we're just going to press our vicious advantage here. Okay, my greed has been punished. Let's swap to the defensive. We're not going to bring this guy down before he runs for it. Maybe. Nah, my greed is too high. We get hit in exchange, which was a mistake. These are greedy. Here we go. A brief lull in the fighting allows for it. As a brief lull in the fighting allows for it, your Centurion gives a signal to rotate. The line behind yours moves forward, while you orderly fall back to the rear, which we desperately need. So we managed to seriously wound that guy. From our current position, it is difficult to figure out what's going on ahead. One after another rows before you fall back in the Centurion signal. Slowly, you find yourself once again at the front. We're going to close in a defensive. We're pretty low on hit points, so I don't really want to take an aggressive posture. Unless they leave an opening. Yeah, we're definitely better off attacking if we're going to attack. Might actually just attack from a defensive posture. Focus on trying to survive the battle rather than win the battle. We'll go for a knock. It's about 50-50 hit. Got the neutral result. Let's swap to the recover for ourselves. Make sure we keep our stance high. Situation shifting, which is kind of good for us. We got pretty mauled in the earlier in the fight, so we're focusing mainly on survival. Eventually, the enemy formation starts to break apart. Very soon, panic spreads as the wavering turns into our rout. What remains of the enemy scatters before our advance. Your army occupies the first camp, captures Hanno himself. Meanwhile, the Carthaginians have left the other base, withdrawing to the safety of their cities in the west. It may look like a small victory, but your early intervention prevented a far greater danger from arising. We gained 5 morale, and we didn't die. Fighting in real battle has sharpened our skills. +2 in all our skills. And because we did pretty good deeds, we gained +1 in all of them again. Recognition of our efforts and achievements, we have promoted to Tesserarius. So we've actually reached the point where we got a promotion. Promote it. And back to training. So I'm going to spar anyone good. We're so well liked that we're always able to find a worthy sparring partner. And our wounds hurt, so our morale's down a little bit from the wounds. Third of our life is spun. We are put in charge of a small foraging party sent out to collect supplies. Find a brook with a good fishing spot. Sure, we'll fish. Due to awareness and quickness, we prove to be a skilled fisherman. Between us and our men, we leave the brook with plenty of food. Find a brook with a good fishing spot, we'll do some fishing again. Less successful this time. Reach a settlement. Scouts report there's something wrong with this hamlet. They've been observing it for a while, and there's not a soul to be seen. We'll keep away from the village. Set about your work, a frail-looking old man approaches you. He's crying and pleading with you. Though you cannot understand most of his foreign words he speaks, his intention is quite obvious. If you take the precious supplies, he and many of his people won't make it through the next months. We'll be compassionate and only take a reasonable amount of supplies. Your men do little conceal their depreciation. They carry out your orders, but it's clear they see your decision as a sign of weakness. lowered opinion of the troops. We gained some virtue in exchange for that. You have not found many supplies here. You expect a lot more. This is certainly suspicious. Look a little bit hard. You were right, Sisters. After careful search, you find a well-hidden stack of provisions. Found a brook with a good fishing spot. Fish. We found enough supplies to go back to your camp. Return to the starting point before time runs out. Okay. And there we go. We have completed our mission to everyone's satisfaction. Raised the opinion of everyone. Well, except the proconsul by one. The experience sharpens our mind. We've gained more awareness, which I don't think we had particularly high awareness to start with, so that's good. Back to training. Sparring good. Spar some more good. Threat of our life is fun. Something is causing a stir amongst camp. Actually, you're sure you heard the cheer of jubilation. Then you find out. Big news. From Rome. Hasdrubal Barca's army, which crossed the Pyrenees last year after escaping from us, was finally intercepted in Italia by 2 consular armies before he could join his brother Hannibal further to the south. His army was annihilated near the river Metarius. Hasdrubal himself died fighting alongside his men. Hannibal is isolated now, and Rome has never been so safe since he crossed the Alps. When he embarked 3 years ago, all this seemed next to impossible. Your revelry goes on for a long time. +5 morale. Let's try to spar the best. We're more likely to have a slim chance. Let's stick to the good then, if we're not having problems learning from the good. The threat of our life is spun. This is a day of intensive drills. The Centurions and other Optimines are hard-pressed to make the maniple execute a complex maneuver. It involves wheeling to the left, rotation to the right to advance as a column, and then wheeling to the left once more to form a battle line. Half the time you're asked to do the opposite. Let's see if we can help. What kind of approach will we take? Well, we'll be assertive. We're charismatic after all. Takes long effort, but as the day progresses, the manner gets smoother and smoother. Your opinion, Centurion, has increased. Experience sharpens your mind, and we gain charisma, awareness, and intellect. Cool. I think that warrants some time of playing dice. Get our overexertion down a bit. Spar some good people again. Probably worth looking to see what we can buy. See if we can get a pair of greaves. No greaves for sale. There is a set of linen, which has really good coverage. Doesn't have particularly great armor protection, though. So, good likelihood that we got hit, that it would hit the armor. Armor's not necessarily going to save us very much in that situation, but it would get hit most of the time. So it would be a frequent but mild damage reduction, instead of a infrequent but great damage reduction when current armor. I think back and breastplate is basically what we have. Yeah. Okay, we'll do another search, see if we can get better results. Start on search, yeah. There we go. We got some greaves to pick between. So we got some 99 greaves, and we got some 150 greaves. The 99 cost greaves is just better. Yeah, we'll go with those ones. We'll buy those ones. Back in breastplate, just about the same as we got. Thracian helmet would be cost more awareness, but we gain much better head production, which I think I'm on board with. It's both better coverage and better protection when it gets used. So we will buy that. How does that compare to our current sword? Worse. A little bit. Well, no, worse. Just worse. Gladius Hispanus 2. Damage up, handiness down, so not what we want. Okay, we're going to move into selling now. So we're going to sell the surplus equipment, which is just the helmet. Get our credits there. Yep. Okay, time to do some training. Back to sparring with good sparring partners. We are escorting an ambassador of Scipios to a meeting with a local chieftain. Talks are not going well. Palatable tension is growing. We're fairly charismatic. We'll step outside of our place and try to help. And we screw up. Messing up the Centurion. So our character is pretty good at the sword, pretty good at the shield, falling a little bit behind with the javelin, and we weren't very quick to start with. Coordination's probably the first. Might actually be worth trying to raise the coordination a little bit. Coordination, endurance. Yeah, we'll do some swim training. Often go for a swim. We get endurance. We're trying to go for coordination, but endurance is fine. Time is over. Time to move on to the next main battle as soon as we feel ready. And we will. Hasdrubal Gisco and Mango Barca, Hannibal's younger brother, are leading the remaining armies of Carthage in this theater. They have joined forces, set on dealing with you once and for all. Scipio himself leads whatever forces he has at his disposal to face them. The legions, the Italic ally, of course, but also a large number of native allies. You don't like the rumors that you've been hearing. It seems the enemy outnumbers you by a fair margin. When you come into sight of the Punic camp near the town of Ilipa, you can see for yourself the reports were not overblown. Ilipa, Hispania. Your army is busy building its camp across the broad plain that separates you from the Carthaginians. A large cavalry host comes forward from the other side, trying to take you by surprise. To their dismay, they find out that Scipio hid his own cavalry behind a hill. A sudden counterattack stalls these islands for a while, but the fight is in the balance. Soon your maniple is sent out to back your horsemen up. The cavalry has been slowly taking ground, thanks to your support. As yet another charge brings chaos to both sides, and Numidian rides in front of your ranks with a clear intent to provoke an attack. The horsemen are considered among the best in the world. They are key to many Hannibal's victories in the early years of the war, and all the compatriots who have met them on the battlefield have learned to respect them. So if memory serves, we come forward to meet him in single combat. We'll get a fight. And if we win the fight, that'll probably be good for our overall prestige and standing. But we're also breaking formation, and that's going to piss off our commanders. So we could choose to stay in the formation, which doesn't really reward us at all. It's kind of a neutral decision. Or we can risk a fight at the cost of pissing off our commanders. We're going to be a bit of a glory hand, and we're going to go forward with the fight. The roar rises from commanders as you prepare to face the Midian's charge. It's almost enough to cover the profanities rumors and sure to shout at you for leaving your place. So yeah, we pissed off the commander. The rest of our troopers is like, rah, 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 yeah, we're doing a great job. We're better at a sword than we are with our javelin, so we're going to rely on our sword. Weapon and defense. Skillfully deflects his lunge as he rides past you, but your weapon is too short to counterattack effectively. He acknowledges your boldness with a motion of his head and pulls away. You stare at him for a moment and then run back to the safety of your maniple. So, we gain morale. The rest of the troop likes us. Our commander is not happy. The skirmish goes on for a long time, but in the end, the Carthaginians have to give up and ride back to their camp. Nothing else relevant happens for the rest of the day. The day has come. The voices of officers giving orders and the sound of marching feet fill the air as your column leaves the camp. All efforts over the last 4 years are at stake today. Oops. Clicked too soon. The legions of Rome and the Italic ally are in the center. Your local allies, light troops on the wings. When the dust settles, you see the distant enemies. Hasdrubal Grisco adopted a similar approach with his heavy infantry in front of you, his elephants standing like towers in front of his Hispanic allies on the wings. You wait in silence. You have to trust your fellow soldiers. If at any point they panic and break formation, then all is lost. No matter what you do, you try not to dwell on it. The wait seems to go on forever. Minutes pass, then hours. Either general gives the signal to advance. As the sunset approaches, you see a motion blue the enemy front. They're not advancing, though. They're going back to the camp. Soon after, the same order is given to you. March back, with a mix of relief and frustration. The following day, this scene repeats itself. And the day after that, and so on, for several days. The Carthaginians are always deploying first, the heavy infantry in the center. And you follow soon after, mirroring their arrangement. This endless back and forth is eating at your nerves. Failed the int check, right? So if we had a good int roll there, in theory, we'd have recognized what was going on and not been so driven by nerves. Then one morning, you are all awakened sooner than usual. The order is to have breakfast and to prepare to march out. Something is off with the positioning of your legion in the outgoing columns. You'll end up on a wing rather than the center. Your cavalry and skirmishers are harassing the Punic camp, forcing Hasdrubal Grisco to respond and deploy in a hurry. Both armies are fully positioned. The dust has not settled yet, but you are quite sure you are facing the enemy's light infantry now, rather than our elite heavy troops. This time, there will be no turning back. Scipio himself takes command of your wing. You wheel to the right, then turn left. Your 3 lines have become columns. You flawlessly execute the complex maneuver. The endless drills are bearing fruit. As a column, you can advance much faster than usual. You see that the other wing on the left, also made of heavy equipment, is doing the same. The line formed by Hispanic allies in the center is moving forward at a slower pace. You're now close with the Carthaginian left wing. You wheel to the right once more, and then turn to face them in your usual formation. You have been too fast for them to react properly. Their elephants are being driven away by your skirmishers, and at last you are ordered to advance. When the other side is at the right distance, you prepare to hurl your first javelin. This time, I think we're going to take a risk and pick off a specific target. You take aim at the other enemy soldier and hurl your javelin. And not a bad throw. Misses the intended target. As the other side gets closer and closer, you steel yourself for the incoming fight. Second javelin. We get a good hit. Let's press the attack on the torso. Our armor, helmet in particular, protects us from that blow. And we follow it up with a killing blow. First kill of this battle. Round 4. And when fighting apparently inferior troops, well, comparison to our current skill, we can simply just press our advantage with blows to the torso. Another kill. Once again, our armor absorbs the incoming attack. Might be this is showing off how valuable getting a decent armor is. Let's push a groin hit and get some extra damage in because of his bad stance. Anyway, I think any hit now will bring him down. So, oh, actually, we'll still focus on the torso either way. Here we go. The situation is shifting. You won't be able to face the current enemy for much longer. And to be fair, yes, he's kind of dead. So, we'll get another one, apparently. Anyway, at this point, I think we're not going to be facing this guy for very long. I don't think we're going to bring him down in time. We're going to swap to the defense and just focus on getting some respite. There we go. After a brief lull in the fighting allows for it, your Centurion gives the signal to rotate, and the line behind yours moves forward, while you orderly fold to the back to the rear. From your current position, it is difficult to figure out what's going on ahead. One after another rows before you fall back at the Centurion signal, slowly you find yourself once again at the front. We'll advance in a cautious manner, until we're properly in the fight, and then we'll push our advantage. Apparently going straight for groin shots. Oof. Missed. Let's take the time to recover our stance. He goes for recovery, so we should be able to get one off. Oh, well, we didn't manage to get one off. Let's still see if we can get a recovery off. There we go. Got ourselves reorganized. Time to press our skill advantage with torso hits. Another kill. Interesting. Immediately gets replaced with a different one. We take a hit. Let's focus on getting our stance recovered before we try to bring this one down. He opens himself up, so we go on the attack. Oof, that spoiled the attack. Situation shifting. We probably won't be able to bring this guy down. There we go. Despite our efforts, the enemy formation is tenaciously holding its ground. However, you have weakened the enemy. Pinned down by Hispanian allies in the center, the African infantry can't come to the aid of their Centauri. There's no reason to expose yourselves more than necessary, so you're ordered to step back and let the Principes take over. Very soon, the wings of the Punic front start to collapse, forcing the unprotected center to follow. So, given the time, this break in the battle is probably a good place to go in and put a part break in. So if you're watching on YouTube, there will probably be another part of tomorrow, which will be the conclusion of this battle. If we get lucky, it won't be the end of the run. We'll see you next time. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. Once again, we're going to have a short part break where I take a break to stretch the legs, drink some tea. And then we'll get right back to it. And with that, I wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.